We want to welcome you all back to this first panel session. Listen, I'm super excited. We have some incredible panelists, have incredible knowledge. They're going to drop gems. They're going to provide value. But most importantly, they're going to give you the tools you need in order to create the right career path for your future endeavors. And so I don't want to waste any time. This is the hour session, hour 10, hour 15. And I can't waste any session because I don't want to waste any time. I want to make sure we get right into it. So without further ado, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to introduce our wonderful panelists. Our first one is the only female represented on the panel, but let me tell you, she is a force. And so we're going to start with her. So Maricel, if you can introduce yourself, let us know where you are from and what is one word of career advice or the greatest career advice that you've ever got throughout your career. If you could share that with us, that would be great. Virtual land, give Maricel a big round of applause. It's on you, Maricel.
Wow. Thank you so much, Joshua, and good evening, good afternoon to everybody. So pleased to be here. My name is Maricel, or Maricel, if you can roll your R's, either way is good. Maricel Herrera, and I'm originally from New York City. I am a business owner, CEO of a company called Maricel Speaks that provides consulting, training, and motivational speaking. But I've also been an educator in higher education at various universities for the past 25 years. So my whole passion is students, empowering students, student success, and most especially first gen, as I am also a first gen Latina, like I said, from New York City. I don't know if there's one word of advice I can tell you. I mean, I have got lots of them, but I'm gonna give you two really quick ones. One, being first gen is not a deficit, it's your superpower. And two, I think it's really important for you, and I wrote down the quote, let's see here. If you don't build your dream, someone's gonna hire you to help them build theirs. And I think that's really important because a lot of times we give of ourselves, and that's great. And you can be an employee, but you can also have your side hustle, your side opportunities. I think it's important to have multiple streams of revenue. And I think you should always be actively building your dreams, even as a young person, even while you're in school, and definitely as a professional.
Awesome. I love it. Again, you're already giving Maricel a big round of applause. I love it. Being a first generation student is a superpower. I love that. Our next panelists are going to waste no time. We're coming back to Florida. My good man, Orlando, up there in north part of Florida. Orlando, welcome to this amazing first generation students conference. Introduce yourself. Let us know what you do and what has been your greatest word of advice as it relates to career success.
Perfect. And then I want to challenge you. You said that this is your calm mode. If this is calm, I want to see, I don't know what 10X level looks like. Because every video I see, man, you are out of this world. So I appreciate the opportunity to be on this platform and speak with these fine folks out of this organization. So yeah, so I've been in talent acquisition for about 18 years. I'm also an author, speaker, and a career growth kind of advocate. And I help folks mid-senior level, even folks coming out of college, to kind of really identify themselves as a brand, and it'll help them, position themselves in this sea of this economic downturn that we're having. There are opportunities out there. Don't think that there's not. There is, but the goal is not the traditional post and pray and hope someone finds you. You have to become the brand. And so some of the things I do is I teach folks how to elevate their career brand through content creation and things like that, so they can be recognized and tap from an employer. But I'm super excited. So the one main advice I got years ago was never assume in business, right? So I would tell you never to assume anything when it comes to business, regardless of what career you're going into. I would always urge you to develop your business acumen. This way you become more effective.
I love it. I love it. Develop your business acumen. Never assume. That is awesome. Again, we want to thank Orlando so much, representing the Floridians out here on the East Coast. We're going to move back to the West Coast in California, Southern California. By the way, he's a Laker fan. Go Lakers. My good friend, we've been knowing each other for many years. Got our masters together. Scott, represent yourself. Let us know what you do. Let us know any other thing that we need to know about you, but most importantly, what has been your greatest word of advice as it relates to career success?
Yeah, welcome everyone. My name is Scott Asai. I am a soft skills trainer. If you don't know what soft skills are, they're primarily communication, leadership, emotional intelligence. There's many more, but we don't have time for that. Basically what I do is I help teach soft skill strategies to develop people in the workplace. And I do that primarily through speaking and coaching. And for me, I would say the best advice that I got that I try to follow myself is your network is really everything. And I believe that nothing great is accomplished alone. And everything that I've gotten in my career has been on the steps of other people. And so I would just encourage you, if you aren't building your network, you need to be doing that. And if you have a strong network, you can always be stronger. Relationships are really everything in business and your career. So if you're not doing that, you should be.
Awesome. I love it, man. Thank you so much, Scott. I like to use a quote, your network is your net worth. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott. We're going to the East Coast, Northeast. My man in Harlem, Kenneth, please introduce yourself. Let us know what you do. And most importantly, what has been your greatest word of advice as it relates to career success? Welcome, Kenneth.
Man, I appreciate you welcoming me in like that. Look, I'm excited to be here. My name is Kenneth L. Johnson. I'm president of the Harlem-based diversity recruitment firm, East Coast Executives. Companies come to us when they're looking to add diverse talent to their recruitment pipelines. I'm also a consultant for the Urban League of Philadelphia. I'm from South Philly originally. I'm a consultant from the New York Urban League. Also, I'm a host of the National Urban League Digital Career Success Series, and I'm organizer of TEDx Harlem, where I'm sitting right now. And that happens to be the home of Marisol and Orlando, by the way. So Harlem is in the building 100% right now.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Give Kenneth a round of applause in virtual land. So happy to have Kenneth here. Harlem is in the house. NYC makes some noise. And our last panelist, absolutely incredible as well. Richard, welcome to the panel. Introduce yourself. Let everyone know exactly what you do and what is your greatest word of advice as it relates to career success. Give it up for Richard.
All right. So first and foremost, thank you everybody for having me today. I'm probably might be the youngest guy on the panel. I don't know, but I'm probably going to assume I'm a lot closer to you guys in age. So I'm going to tell you guys straight up, one of the biggest advice I can give you right away, be prepared to fail and come back and get right back up again. Because one of the biggest things is you cannot look at others' success and let that define what it is for you. And I come from I have a very different mindset. I have failed. I've taken risks. I've taken probably everything you could imagine to be successful. I've taken a different route. I did not listen to everybody else. But so what I have to say is believe in yourself and your own vision. As far as what I do, I am a chief resume writer of my own company, and I'm also a career coach. Through the pandemic, last year I had 320 people hired. This year I have 115. So everything I do is based upon making you look good on paper so we can get you hired. And I work with everybody. And all I can say is I'm here to make sure y'all are good to go. And I listen to the folks who have a lot more wisdom than I do so I can learn from them as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Richard. It's so good to have you with us as well. Man, we got a great panel, y'all. And again, as I often say, make sure you connect with them on LinkedIn. You'll hear me say it over and over again. LinkedIn is the place to connect and network. I actually met Richard on LinkedIn. I met Kenneth on LinkedIn. I actually met Orlando or learned about Orlando through Clubhouse. I don't know if you're familiar with Clubhouse, but I learned about Orlando through Clubhouse. Then I went my other routes to connect with him. And again, I've known Scott and Marisol in other ways. So make sure you get on LinkedIn. Make sure you connect with all of the panelists as well. And we'll definitely be putting that information up. But we're going to move into our first question. I don't want to waste any time. And I want to just let whoever wants to start with this question, please chime in. Each of you is career coaches. Each of you work to help people to position themselves for career success. But I think one of the foundational stages that a lot of career advisors would talk about is this concept of career exploration or determining what career do you want to pursue, what professional path do you want to pursue. So what I'm going to ask all of you are, what are 3 specific things that first generation students or even professionals should consider if they're going to begin to create the right career path for their future endeavors? And whoever wants to chime in first, please feel free to chime in and we'll get this thing started.
I'm going to go short and sweet here. The 3 things I could think of off the top of my head are, so number 1, identify your strengths. If you don't know what those things are, you need to go on something like the Strengths Finder and figure those things out, because if you don't know what those are, you can't really sell yourself. Number 2, I would look at your past experiences. I'm not talking about just job experiences, but what do you like doing? What are you good at? What do people tell you you should be doing? Get an idea. Your past, really prepares you for the present and then the future. And the last thing I'm going to say it again is make networking part of your lifestyle. Don't make it a goal. Don't make it something that you check off your list. Make it something that you do on a consistent basis as part of your habits. And if you can do that, then I feel like, you'll be able to find that career path a little faster than you will, sort of rather than just guessing.
Great points, great points, great points, really great points. Anybody else want to chime in on that question? I love those points. Orlando, I see you.
Yeah, I can piggyback up on what Scott just said. So with finding your strengths, right? So there's several assessments out there that you can take to see where your strengths lie and some areas of improvement. So I would say do that as well. So piggyback it off of that too. I would say ask friends and family what they see you doing based on your life, your breadth of work, whether again experience or life experience. So ask those folks because they're closest to you, and they can give you advice and be like, because I know you inside and out. I see you doing X. And third, I would say you have a God-given talent. See if there's anything in the market that matches that, because I think you'll have more of a love for when you go through those ups and downs. You'll have a drive, you'll have a passion, you'll get laser focused. So those are the three things: assessment, ask friends and family, and see if your God-given talent has a space in the marketplace.
Awesome, awesome. I know Kenneth and Marisol have something to say. Whoever wants to go first.
Okay, so I just wanted to jump in there, and I love everything that everybody was saying. I think the first thing I wanted to say is to normalize the fact that if you're unclear about your path, that's normal. And that's particularly normal if you're a first-gen student, because you're doing something that somebody has not done before by virtue of the definition. So I want to normalize that. There's nothing wrong with you. This is something that we all go through. And even people who are second and third generation, sometimes they don't have a clue. So I'm just going to put them on blast for a minute. So I want to normalize that and validate that for you. And the fact that you always don't have somebody maybe in your immediate circle, right? But there are places like this Circle Exchange conference and other people in your life who can help you. Yes, big clue comes from your hobbies, from the place where you have strengths. But one thing I'm going to say, which maybe you don't hear too often, is you're going to have a lot of shoulds, a lot of advice, a lot of mentoring. That's beautiful. That's amazing. This is all important. I'm a success, junkie, if you will. But I think it's really important to start unplugging and to getting quiet with yourself, getting quiet with your thoughts. So many are so busy, social media, we're never disconnected. Unplug and plug into whoever your higher power is, because I got to tell you, the greatest revelations that I've had about my career, the greatest successes that I've had from career did not come from people like me. It came from my relationship to God, showing me what was my purpose, and your purpose trumps all, right? So I want to encourage you to spend some time being quiet, reflecting, meditating, journaling, do whatever it is. And it's in your daydreams, and it's in those momentary images that you have that go by your mind. Those are all cues and clues to your purpose, to your giftings, and to the things that you will have great success with in your life.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing, man. You'll spark me when you talk about the God thing, because that'll get me really. I believe if y'all don't know, I firmly believe in God, and I often say there is a place for me in my belief, in my walk with Christ, that it's revelation flows. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I get so much stuff in my prayer and worship time. It's so amazing. So I'm glad you brought that point up, Marisol, because that's definitely true for me. I know for a fact. But I know Kenneth had something to say, so I don't want to chime in. Kenneth, what do you want to say? And I think Richard has something as well.
You know what? I wanted to say that I actually forgot to tell everybody my words of advice. The best words I received were "don't quit," and I shared that with Josh. We were speaking about that pre-show. But as far as the three things, I think I'm really following the lead of my fellow panelists. Listen. Do an assessment. Many are available online. They're going to speak about values, interests, personality, aptitude. It's all standard, but it's definitely worth your time, right? Block out the noise. I think Richard had mentioned some of that, and I know Marisol has as well. Yes, you want advice, but listen, you want to create your own career path. My father wanted me to do something totally different. He didn't even know what I did existed, right? I'm a diversity recruiter. so like he couldn't tell me to do that. He didn't know it even existed. So find your own way, but once you do, start conducting informational interviews. I think Scott had mentioned, the networking piece, but a great way to network is to conduct informational interviews with professionals like the ones that are on the panel. I had Orlando on my show on the Digital Career Success Series on the National Urban League platform about a month ago, and he was speaking to some of this as well. So I know this advice comes with a price. And Orlando Hayes has cashed that check for me and told me, yeah, that's what you tell him. So that's what I would do.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think Richard has something to say because I was definitely going to chime in. Anything you want to say, Richard?
Yeah, real quick. I think that for first generation, a lot of folks come from families that are blue collar families and already are in a generation where the mindset is I work hard, I do what I need to do. And a lot of you guys have already taken that mantle where you're learning from your parents, the work ethic and everything else. So I go right into it to make this short and simple. You guys already have the skill set. You have a background. Utilize what you currently have to help you excel in your profession and where you're trying to go. If someone says you don't have experience, okay, you might not, but please make sure to understand that you tell them I do because I have the following X, Y, and Z. And that's why on paper it's so important. But and that's all I wanted to quickly gather because everybody has some great things to say.
No, those are great points. Those are great points. And I had another question, but I really want to ask this question. Something you said, Kenneth, really sparked this. And you said not to listen to what other people have told you, but you also talked about how you became a diversity consultant, and it had like did your father even understand what that was when he was giving you career advice? And I believe with all my heart, there's new careers, there's new professions, and there's new arenas that are going to open up over the next 5 to 10 years, especially with the integration of AI. And so I want to ask this question. Say, for instance, someone's going to do something that's never been done in their family, or say someone's going to create a career path that is on the rise, but it's not necessarily there yet. What are some specific things that you can advise them to do to deal with what I like to call unknown territory or uncertain career paths that there's not really a set mentor or set person can really help them to figure that thing out, if that makes sense? Anyone want to offer advice on that? Because I think, a lot of us can probably relate to what that looks like. I know I talked about that as a speaker, but I'm sure you all have insight on that as well.
Yeah, I can come in right now on that. I think it's really important that people have a clear understanding of what their transferable skills are. Mm-hmm. The technical side and the learn side, especially when you're coming out of college and you're new to your career space, people don't expect you to know everything, right? But they do expect you to know what value you add and what you bring to the table. And a lot of times that's just through being able to strategically and intentionally explain what your soft skills are and what your transferable skills are. And once you do that and you kind of lock in and maybe get mentors and sponsors within the space that you're working in, I think you'll find your way. But don't be afraid to navigate at your own pace, but completely understand that you must add value.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Can I add to that, Joshua?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I think that this whole idea of being first gen in any space is the uncertainty. And I think sometimes we get messages that somehow that's a deficit. And I'm not trying to take away the fact that there's challenges that come with that. But like I said earlier, first gen is your superpower. And what I mean by that is you might be attempting a new career, a new business, and entrepreneurship. But the idea of hustle and grind and resilience is not new to us. Okay. I may not have all the pedigree, right? But I grew up knowing how to make $1 out of 15 cents. I knew how to get resources together. I've braved tougher things than the Rona. I'm just being real with you. And I think it's really important because a lot of times students feel like, oh my God, how am I going to do with this? It's okay to feel that, but don't get stopped by that. Because the truth is you're stronger than you think. You're smarter than you think. You're just as good as anybody else. And you have to really find that inward strength. And so I just think not only the transferable skills you have from other experiences, but from your life experiences. Some of y'all got PhDs in life, right? Y'all been through far harder things than virtual environments, bad economies, right? And so I just want to recognize that you have a huge asset within you that if you tap into and honor and value and then hone it, that can help you with anything new or brand new or groundbreaking that you're doing in the future. I think the other piece of it related to that is sometimes we stop ourselves before we even get in the game because of this imposter syndrome. We don't think we're enough. We're not smart enough, brave enough, resourced enough, privileged enough. And there's some real reasons for that imposter syndrome, but sometimes we count ourselves out. We don't even put ourselves in a position to get the job, get the internship, or all those other high impact things. So I really speak a lot to our mindset when it comes to that and really doing that inner work so that your outer work will reflect the success of what you've been doing on the inside.
That's good. I love it. I love it. I love it. Richard, I'll let you go, Rick. I was gonna bring a question.
I know I keep coming at the last, but Marisol just hit something that was so important.
Come on.
That imposter syndrome. Let me tell you something. We as minorities, and especially folks, everybody, but I'm gonna say this right away. You guys, she is so right. I have to tell you, you guys have everything, all the potential that you have, and you got it on paper. Because guess what? Everybody else is putting it on paper. Everybody else is showing it. 1 + 1 is what, 2? But you say 1 + 1 is 0. You better say it with confidence. People need to believe that you are going to say it right, and you're going to tell it, and they're going to believe in you. So when I hear you guys say that, Ed Marisol, that triggered me. That made me so happy to hear. So thank you for that. And I just had to say that. That's it. Wow.
No, I'm gonna stay with you, Rich, 'cause I want to ask you a question. There was actually something in the chat, and if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken, I believe you were in the military. If I'm wrong, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
So there was something that came in. They said, "How does someone break what they call the military mindset?" I saw someone put in the chat, and I was like, and I don't even know. You may know more insight of what that means as it relates to career success. And so I'll let you answer that question. That was really interesting. I've never saw that come up in these conversations, but if you understand that, if you can help that person, that would be awesome.
So there's a reason why they have recently separated veterans at the end of the applications. They always have like the disability question, and they'll have, are you a recently separated veteran? It really takes you about 3+ years. Now, if you're someone that's retired, good luck. That's probably going to take you about 5 to 10 years to really get out of that shell. And what I can tell you honestly, as a veteran myself, getting out, it took me probably honestly 3 to 5 years to really identify what I wanted to do. Because my whole mentality is I am great. I'm X, Y, and Z. I'm gonna come over here. I expect to make X, Y, and Z coming out the military. I know I have all these skill sets, but you know what? It took some humility. It took learning, and it took being able to change. Because the thing is that you're literally a first generation professional all over again. Because you're coming out from what you've been taught, where someone has told you what to do, to now you got to be innovative, you got to be creative, you got to follow directions. But if you don't, guess what? You lose your job, you lose everything else. The military, we're blessed. We don't get fired. You get kicked out, but that's a whole different ball game. So as far as changing your mentality, what I can tell you is the same thing as I tell everybody else, especially for my fellow veterans. You have leverage. Your leverage is you have a couple of years where people understand you are removed from military service. You're going to have a little bit of a hard time. You're going to have to figure out what it is that you want to do. But like everybody's talked about here, finding your passion, finding what it is that you like. It took me a while, but once I put the pieces together, they all align within the same type of job and same type of arena. So what I can tell you is that you guys, especially my fellow vets, I can't say it enough. It's okay to fail coming out the military, because no one knows how can I put this in the most realist way possible? It's thank you for your service, now move on. So when you come out to the real world, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and people will fire you, let you go, and you have to decide, where do you fit in the big scheme of things? Where can you come in and make impact? And you have to be a wholesome version of yourself, which means that please get a mentor, go to the VA, go get mental help, go get whatever you need, because then you will be okay. And of course, believe in whatever you pray for, pray. All those components will make you successful.
That's good, Rich. That's powerful, man. Shout out to all the veterans out there, those that serve in the military, protect us. I just want to give y'all a shout out and let you know that we appreciate your service. Orlando and Scott, I'm coming to you. I'm going to start with you, Orlando. Orlando, by the way, Orlando has a new book out I saw on IG. It's called Career Talks. I want to give you a shout out about that. Orlando, make sure you let the people know about that. And Scott, now, Orlando, you're in HR as well. You're an HR professional. And so when it comes to career path, when it comes to trajecting your career or transferring from one industry to another, what has been one of the greatest challenges you have identified, and how did you help someone solve that problem? And then Scott, if you can follow up with that, that'd be awesome. Orlando, it's on you.
I appreciate it. So just one, maybe I should write a book called Career Talks, but it's actually a podcast and LinkedIn Live. No, but you're good, Josh. I appreciate it. So one of the things that I've learned making that transition, actually, because I'm a veteran as well. So Richard was right on point with everything he said. And just a pin in that is that what he talked about mainly was the veteran having the difficulty, not the employer, because the employer will see the value of your discipline, your leadership skills, your accountability, your knack to show up, right? Because that's drained. You don't get days off in the military. There's no weekends off. So that's an added value for folks, regardless of their age. So in terms of your question, though, what's helped me is really just grit, man. Just really getting good at what I do, because I heard this from a friend of mine. I have my PhD too, right? Public high school diploma. I have zero college degrees. I have some college credits. So I have my SCC, right? Some college credits. But I've gotten so good at what I do because I love what I do, and I figured out that I'm good at interviewing. Right? So someone like Kenneth and I, who are in that talent acquisition space, the diversity recruiting, we have a very good knack at being inquisitive and diving deep and taking control of a conversation, and in some cases uncovering some things that you may not want to expose. So I've just gotten so good at my craft that's helped me elevate, and I understood, like I said earlier, as I started to develop my business acumen, right? So picture this, my background, again, no college degree, but now I've been part of leadership teams across companies like Amazon, the company I work for now, which is a global BPO company. So I'm in there with COOs and VPs having big think tank strategic conversations, and my word is being heard, right? Because again, I developed that business acumen, and I didn't stay in one lane. I broadened my scope. So when I speak, it's a place of more wisdom and knowledge and understanding of the totality of the business that I'm in versus just a recruiter.
I love it. I love it. Powerful. I didn't know we had two veterans. That's even more amazing. Wow. Amazing. I love it. Scott, what about you?
Yeah, so if we're talking about roadblocks, I'd like to sort of go into this perspective of what it looks like when you go into an interview. And a lot of people think, I'm supposed to go in there and sell myself and I'm supposed to prove why I'm the best and stuff like that. To a degree, yes, but a lot of it's going to be fit. And what I mean by fit is like cultural fit, not ethnicity, but culture in terms of the company. Like how well can you sell yourself in terms of what value do you bring? Not how good you are, but what value do you bring to the company, right? And a lot of times I think when we're trying to figure out what the perfect career is, we overanalyze it. And when you overanalyze it, you don't do anything. You just sit there and you think about it, right? And that doesn't get you anywhere. I think the reality is that there's a lot of careers that are going to pop up that we didn't know about, and you're never going to catch up, And so a lot of life is just going to be trial and error. And sometimes you're never going to know whether it's the right career or not until you actually try it. You think you might like it, but you don't really know until you actually do it. And so I think that sets us up to be very adaptable. And I think the reason the word pivot comes up so much, and used to be more of a technology term, but now it's just like a career term in general, is that we have to pivot because times change and we have to change. And ultimately, I'm going to go back to something you're going to get tired of me saying, is that it's going to come back to who you know, right? It's going to come back to more about who you know rather than what you know. I always tell people, you just got to network like your life depends on it. A network like it's going out of style.
I love it. You said network like your life depends on it. Network like it's going out of style. I love that. I love that. And I love that concept of experiences. Sometimes I know there's a popular speaker. She talks about how she had tons of internships. And it's through experiences that you realize, no, that doesn't work. No, that works. And I've also heard people that volunteered. And through volunteering with specific cause, they've realized this is what I love to do. So I love that concept as well. So many gems that are being released today. Y'all, we're getting ready to get to what I call our rapid fire questions. Again, for those of you that are in the audience right now, if you have any additional questions, please feel free to let us know. I do see two of them. We will get to those for sure, as well as make sure you connect with all of our panelists online on LinkedIn. Again, make sure you connect again. But I'm going to go to rapid fire, and it's going to be 5 questions that we got pre the conference. So these are 5 questions that people filled out before the conference. Orlando, I'm going to start with you. And I'm gonna ask one for you. This is what I'm gonna ask you, Orlando. Then I'm gonna move through. You got 1 minute, Orlando, 1 minute, and then I'll start moving through. And this is the question: what advice do you have on personal branding for students who are passionate about multiple focus areas? So when it comes to personal branding, what advice do you have when people want to do multiple things? Orlando, you have 1 minute. They were not prepped for these questions, y'all. It's on you, Orlando.
Let's go. So. Don't focus on too many. Focus on one. Get specialized, get focused, get experience, then branch off. But what you're going to want to do, again, is career content, right? You see a bunch of YouTubers and people out there. A lot of individual job seekers do not brand themselves correctly. LinkedIn is the best platform to do that. So I'm developing a 10 by 10 content creation, which actually the 10 by 10 came up when I worked with Kenneth. He said, oh, man, that's 10 by 10. I was like, I'm using that. So checks coming your way, Kenneth, for that. But 10 by 10 is where you create 10 specific items from your from your experience, lay it out over the course of 10 weeks where you start to get a consistency of developing content, which and shares your expertise and knowledge of what you know about a specific area. But don't be all over the place. It's not about a jack of all trades. Just get focused on one.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Give it up for Orlando. Here we go. We're moving to the next one. Maricel, we're coming to you. No. This is for Scott. This is Scott. This is all Scott. This is good, Scott. Scott, this is the question. 1 minute, Scott. What are the best ways to network with new people with valuable insights in an intended career path? What is the best way to network? Scott, you have 1 minute. Take it away.
I think nowadays, with COVID going on and a lot of times we can't grab coffee with people, you got to leverage LinkedIn. You got to connect with people, but don't leave it there. You have to step out and you have to follow up. I hop on a lot of video calls nowadays, much more than I did before, 15 to 20 minute type things where you just talk, you try to build a connection, So if that's what you would call an informational interview, call it an informational interview. But you need to understand, you need to learn how to connect with people, and people are humans before they are careerists. So you got to make sure that you can connect with them on some type of common thread you can do, and then just take it from there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. The worst thing you did is you wasted some time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott. Great wisdom. We're gonna move to Maricel. Here we go, Maricel. You have 1 minute. This is your question. How can I make sure I'm successful in college and in my future job? How can someone make sure they're successful in college and their future job? Your minute starts now.
Wow, 1 minute for that. Okay, I just think a couple of things have already been said. Know yourself, know your strengths, know your passions, your values. Start from there, what you bring to the table. Invest in it, get involved, take internships, do volunteering, get activism going while you're in college. If you be what you want, right? You want to have a mentor, be a mentor, right? When you do have a mentor, have a reciprocal relationship. Seize the moment of the opportunity of a lifetime in the lifetime of that opportunity, right? So many students say, wait, I'll do that in my sophomore year. I'll do that in my senior year. Use career services. Statistics say students don't ever go to career services until their last year of college. That's too late. Start doing it now, right? So I would just think that for success, you have to get a real clear sense of what it means to you based on your value, your strength. Be willing to ask for that help. Be willing to be humble and coachable. Be willing to get involved. And the fact is, it's going to take a couple of iterations. You may have multiple careers in this lifetime. Allow yourself to also evolve on that path for yourself.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Maricel. Kenneth, we're coming to you. Here goes your question. 1 minute, Kenneth. This is the question. How can I find a job correlated to my passions when I'm unable to get professional experience prior to it? So again, how do I find a job correlated to my passion when I'm unable to get professional experience correlated to it? Your minute starts now.
All right, so it's a multi-tiered answer, right? Because I believe it takes a multi-tiered approach. Maricel just mentioned taking advantage of your career services department at the college, right? Listen, I'm a University of Maryland alum. They brought me back to speak in career services. I asked them how long had it been in that building. I never went there before, right? I'd never been in the office. So take advantage of that. I think one of the keys, Scott talked about networking, definitely a great way to get a job. But listen, don't be afraid to leverage your internships, leverage volunteer opportunities, and just completely look for ways to add value. I think at the beginning, one of the panelists that spoke about, you have a PhD in life. So find out where your lane is, right? If there's a value alignment with what it is that you're interested in and what it is that they do, that's the place. That's the place. So just find your way through networking, through your career services department, and also through volunteering. And I really honestly believe you'll find yourself on the right path.
I love it. So much goodness coming out of here. Let's go. All right, my man, Richard, we got the last question for you.
Right.
Describe a time. Oh, Richard, you got 1 minute. Describe a time you were faced with adversity or an internal struggle. How did you overcome it?
Wow. Okay. So you just really put me on the spot, but okay. I think I'm just go right into it. I'm just going to say my biggest adversity was when I got fired. I'm going to tell you why, because at that particular time, I had to figure out how I'm going to pay my bills. What am I going to do? How am I going to achieve the things I need to? How am I going to make sure my lady is taken care of? How can I, so what I did was I said, boom, I've already been doing it for the past couple of years. I have my own business. I just didn't make it more profitable. I've hit the ground and the pavement hard. When I tell you it took me 3 years to get it to where it is right now, it's because I took the time to market myself, personal brand, lead, and be able to actually help people, and I provide people real results. And then I started challenging myself. I started taking on a lot more advanced opportunities and roles, and I started doing things that were actually a lot more challenging. So I can tell you this right now, my biggest thing I can tell you for me was being able to come out of that and get to a point where I knew I still had it, that I was not a failure. And because it wasn't a right cultural fit for me, that it wasn't the end of it wasn't the end for me. So I knew that place wasn't for me. So what I did was I created an avenue and approach for me to be successful. And I started having people like that company hit me up to help them out with certain things. So at the end of the day, it worked out in my favor. And sometimes you just got pushed. And for me, it was just ultimately try and bounce back. And I've been able to bounce back every single time. Every single time.
No, I love that. That's so powerful. It's actually, we began earlier today, Richard, and someone has said, what is something good that happened in 2021? And they were like, I got fired. And that was so funny because I can relate to them. I can relate to you because I got fired as well. I got a whole story that I talk about as it relates to getting fired. And it's crazy because the 24 hours that I was fired was the moment where I found the next job that actually propelled me into my purpose before they realized that the boss actually was unethical in the way they fired me and they had to bring me back, but it worked to my good. And so that's so powerful for people to understand that, sometimes you need to get fired. I mean, that's the real talk. And I'm gonna go into this next question, and this is gonna be opened up for everyone here. What are 3 signs that you're in the wrong profession? A lot of times we talk about how do you get into the right profession, but it could be possible that you're in the wrong profession and you're trying to fight it, but you need to get out. You need to get fired. You need to give your 2 weeks notice, whatever the case may be, because there's something better and bigger for you. But for the panel, what are 3 signs that let you know this is the wrong path, this is the wrong major, I need to stop today? Whoever wants to chime in.
Man, I'm going to take it real quick. Just because I just spoke about there being a values alignment, right? Like your values have to align with your career if you really want to call it a career, because there are jobs and there are careers, right? So if we're talking about careers, make sure your values align with the values of the organization. I think that's extremely important. I speak along terms kind of businessy, right? So if there's a poor exchange rate, that's not the place for you. And what I mean by that is you provide time, energy, your mind share and knowledge base in exchange for professional development, income, and your ability to feed your passion. So you have to have a good exchange rate. All you provide, you want to get something out of it. And if there's as a first generation student and as an early career employee, if there's no mentorship and or sponsorship opportunities within the scope of the business or within the scope of the career path, you might want to either find it or find your way out of this. So please be mindful of that. And those are the 3 things that I would lean on.
Wow, hashtag great exchange. No mentor or sponsorship. That right there. Woo, that right there. Oh, I hope y'all wrote that down. That right there. I want to open it up for the other wonderful panelists. Anything else want to share on top of what Ken shared? Man, great responses. Anybody else have anything they want to share and add on that?
Yeah, I'll just quickly add, definitely, if you're in an environment where you're tolerated and not valued, that's one, that's just a key factor where you have a voice, you're sharing, you're adding value, but it's being dismissed. Obviously, that's not a place you need to be. But if you can, at any point, you want to try to see if there is a career path during the interview process. A lot of folks try to figure out after they've gotten into the organization. You have the power to question the interviewee, the hiring manager, recruiter, HR person, whoever, and go on with a plan saying, hey, I noticed that you have XYZ posted on your job board, or what is the trajectory of my career, say 3 to 5 years from now? What does that look like? And if they're not giving you a clear answer, it may be an indication that they're frustrated in their role and thinking, yeah, it's just never going to happen, right? So you got to be able to read between the lines, have that spirit of discernment to know up front. Try to get those questions answered to see if that's even a company you want to position yourself with before you have that issue.
Ooh, that's good, man. That's good. It's good questions. Man, asking a question, where do they see you in 3 to 5 years? Woo, woo. Man, that's a whole, you got me in, yeah, okay. I was going to share about that. Oh, Marisol, I know you want to say something. I know Scott did. Yes, go Marisol, then Scott.
I 100% agree with what everybody else is saying. Some signs is you're getting stomach aches. You can't sleep at night. You don't look forward to Mondays. Those are some real concrete, tangible things that gives you a sense maybe I'm not in the right place. I do want to say, in agreement with what everybody else said, and I know it's a little bit controversial here, is I think sometimes young professionals, particularly, have been sold this idea of passion and purpose, and I believe in all of that. And they go into jobs expecting some things that may not always be aligned, right? So what I'm trying to say by that is what I see with young professionals is they go into jobs, and yes, they want to be mentored and coached, but a lot of times they don't make the transition from student to professional. When you're a professional and you're working for a company, they want deliverables, they want outcomes, and you'll be blessed if you have a great coach and a mentor. But at the end of the day, you have to deliver on the bottom line. That's different than when you're a student and being loved on by student affairs and circle of change. And I just want to say that because I think sometimes people feel frustration and negativity and start complaining about their role, and they think that it's their role, but actually it's them. And it's their expectations. Maybe it's their areas of growth. Maybe you're getting feedback and you're not liking it because it's not praise. I'm just being honest with you. I didn't come here to not be honest with you. And so I've seen young professionals sabotage great opportunities because they misappropriated their expectations, or they weren't willing to put in the work, or they expected their boss to be their mentor. And while that's a blessing, that's not a requirement. And that's just not real, right? So I just think it's really important to have the appropriate expectations, bring all you got, and also come into a job not from what just all I'm going to get. What am I going to contribute from a place of service? One great thing to always ask your leaders, what's top of mind for you? What's on your mind? That's giving you the edge on the next product or the next project or whatever it is. So be sure that you're not projecting some negative or inappropriate expectation onto the relationship. And the best way to do that is to clearly speak about the expectations of the relationship and of the role.
That's great. That's great advice. I know we're going to lose you, Scott, but I want to follow up with what Marisol I think is really important. Sometimes a bad job is a requirement of your character development. And sometimes having a bad boss is a requirement of your character development. I'm not saying anyone deserves it, but what I have found in my life is I found sometimes you have no choice. As Scott said earlier, I used to be a substitute teacher for about 6 years in LA Unified School District, where I had to get up and go teach kids. And I went to some interesting places. I mean, I would go to a class, and when I tell you it was, I don't know what I was teaching. It was just ridiculous. I mean, no, and I'm not being, I'm very, I mean, it really makes me sad when I think about the education, to be honest with you. But I had to go in there and do this every day and motivate and speak and be disciplined and be habits and come home and be up late at night and working on my speaking career, where eventually I was able to let go. Well, actually, I got fired from that job, and then I was able to soar. I actually got fired. I wasn't going to let it go, but I knew it wasn't for me. But I got fired, and I've been, soaring ever since. But again, the character that was built there, the endurance, the work ethic, and the hunger. When you're in a bad situation, you start getting desperate, and you'll go some extra miles to get out of there as quick as you can. So I just want to follow up there. But Scott, I know you had something to say real quick. Scott, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say the first thing is that for those of you who are first-gen college graduate students, when you're going to come out of school, you have a lot of student debt that's built up, right? And you want to pay it off, right? So you're going to take what you can get. And a lot of times it's not in your major, okay? And so you're going to do that. And the problem is that you kind of settled, and I think that you'll take it because of the money, and you can do that. And you can learn something from it. If you treat it as a learning experience, that's great. But quite frankly, you're probably not going to like it that much. And the other two things I would say is I know Josh's going to resonate with this one, is that a lot of people just have a lack of career vision, and so they take something, right? And it's like, well, how do you know this job is on the path that is to where you want to be if you don't have a path in the first place, right? So if you're just kind of jumping around like this, it's like, well, how do you expect to ever get in the right career if you have no idea what that right career looks like in the first place, And so I think you got to take a step back and look at the big picture. And that's sometimes where time off of work, really matters, and figure out what that is. So if you're even in a job that's going to serve you down the line. And the last thing is that, working as a career coach for a while, one thing I realized is that when people come to me and they'd say, I'm unhappy in my job. How long has it been, right? I would say if it's been over 90 days, things are not going to change. So if you've been there for 3 months, I'm not saying get up and go. I'm just saying that if you have a problem with something or a problem with someone, chances are it's probably not going to change after that time. So you better learn to deal with it, or you better start to look. And so I hear people all the time like, oh, I've been here for 5 years. I've been here for 10 years. And you know what, quite frankly, it's easier to stay when you're in a situation you don't like if you stay longer than it is to get out quicker.
That's a good point. So I'm gonna get ready to go to these questions, but real quick, you said something real vital. You said a career vision, and I heard this woman say this, and I'll never forget it. She says, when you have a career vision, sometimes you may have to take a demotion in title and money to promote yourself to be closer towards your vision. And I think that's so relevant. I can even talk from my life. I remember before I was a substitute teacher, I was working in television. I was on the Wayne Brady show, and it was incredible. But what I realized, in order to become a speaker, it was too demanding. I didn't have enough time to do the other things that I needed to do in order to fuel my passion. So I had to leave entertainment and seeing all these celebrities, and there was a lot of glamour there, right? And be a substitute teacher and not be getting paid as much, although I wasn't getting paid too much as a PA, but still I was getting paid more, but demote in order to position myself to where I'm going. And I think that's always important with the career vision, because sometimes I want to make more money, but sometimes you got to lose money for a season to position yourself for more money on the back end. And so really great information. So we got literally about 13 minutes. I got a lot of questions. So I'm just gonna start asking these questions I'm seeing coming up. And so I'm gonna start with this question from one of our guests, and whoever wants to answer, you have 1 minute to answer it. This is the question: what is the hardest lesson you have ever learned? The hardest lesson you have ever learned. Whoever wants to answer it, take it away.
I'll jump in real quick. Kind of what I tell folks too, and what I've learned is stop thinking like a job seeker, right? Start thinking as an entity. And what I mean by that is they have strategies on how they're trying to reach their target market. So you need to take business principles. Kenneth said it earlier, he thinks and talks in business terms. You need to start thinking as an entity, get a strategic plan for your career, have that career vision, put the plan together and execute. There'll be ups and downs. But the moment you continue to keep yourself in a job seeker mode, you're operating sometimes from a spot of desperation, and you're limiting your value. So be strategic. Focus on areas that you know you can be successful in, and put that plan together and get to work.
I love it. Be strategic and focus on areas where you can add value. I love it. Next question I want to ask is on the board. Work-life balance. What strategies, what words of wisdom do you have as it relates to work-life balance? I hear someone say it's not even true, but whoever wants to chime in and respond to that, please take it away.
All right, so I'll take this one because I think that, so for me, it's I work hard and play hard. That is my mantra. So I work extremely hard, and I believe in being able to have fun. And you should be fueled by what you do. Your outside activity should help fuel you. It should help get you to where you need to be for the next morning. You get up and get ready to go to work. I had a great weekend. Yes, weekend is short. I'm gonna do what I need to do. Make time for the things that matter to you, and make sure it speaks to you and it speaks to your soul. Because if you enjoy something, it's not gonna feel like a job. Because I do this and I probably work long hours, and I don't do by hourly rate. So I can tell you, because guess what? I love what I do. I love what I do so much that it's just a habit, and it becomes a good habit because I see the outcome. So what I do to fuel that, I go out to eat. I go do things that I know I don't mind spending my money on. I do things. I connect with other people. I go smoke cigars. I do something. My thing when it comes down to work-life balance, my advice is don't diminish it. Don't put it down. Continue to keep it the same. And even if you have a harder if you have a harder work schedule, you're working a little bit harder, just take the time to still find ways to enjoy yourself, decompress, do what you need to do.
I love it. Awesome advice. I love it. Work hard and play hard. Oh, Maricel, you want to say something? I saw you.
I just want to say something, one quick thing, because I'm the lady on the panel, right? As women, we have expectations of us based on our gender and our culture that are above and beyond oftentimes of that of men, especially when we're making our career trajectory. I just want to name that, because I am supposed to, bring home the bacon and fry it up in the pan and take care of the kids and be a vice president. And that is something that I just want to name, and particularly for first generation and minority women. So I want to name it. And I want to say you can have it all, but you can't always have it all at the same time. There is a season for everything. Okay. And when you use a masculine model of success, which many corporate ones are and just ascension ones are, you take away your femininity. It is a great reward to be an executive. It is a great reward to be a mother. It is a great reward to be all of those things. And we have to come to a place where we define for ourselves what resonates most deeply with our values, with our family's values. Because let me just tell you this, you can work hard all you want for a company or even for yourself, but for a company, and tomorrow you'll be fired or you'll keel over and they'll replace them. But nothing's ever going to replace your child needing you.
Come on, somebody.
Okay, so I'm as hard hitting as the rest of y'all, and I'm a single mother. But I can tell you that you have to constantly recalibrate and recalculate that for yourself, especially as a woman of color who has to work 3 times as hard to prove half his worth.
You're right about that, Orlando. Mic drop. Shout out to all the women out there. Shout out to all those that identify themselves as women. Shout out to you. Man, and the kids, man, me and Scott, I know Scott got 2 of them. But them kids, man, them kids, come on, somebody. Come on, I love it. I would ask this next question. It came in earlier. Do what you love, never work a day in your life. Is that a reality or is that someone just making that assumption? Who wants to chime in on that?
I understand it, right? I really do understand the statement. I'm an entrepreneur. I trade and you know, everything I do, I kind of aligned it with the work, right? I host a radio show in Philly called the Career Seekers Show, right? But it's about providing career insight, right? And I do consulting for companies, but as a career coach or as a diversity staffing specialist I host a show for the National Urban League, but it's the Digital Career Success Series, right? So like I kind of play in the space that I work in, but believe me, it's still work, right? It's still work for me. I'm not out here just trying to do it. I'm trying to be the best at it. Yeah. So when I sit out and say, you know, East Coast Executives, the diversity recruitment leader, I stand on that. So although, you know, I get the whole, you know, if you love your job, you never work a day in your life. Trust me, once we get off of this and I'm reviewing these contracts and these terms of agreement, that's work. That's work over here. So I can appreciate it and I understand it, but I just think, you know, if you're trying to be the best or you're trying to stand out, work as hard as you can because it's competitive out here. We're competing. To Maricel's point, you know, we got Orlando and Richard on here. Thank you for your service. I wanted to definitely put that in. You brothers are outstanding. But they understand it as well as anybody, right? Just based on their experience in the military, like we're working out here. So with that being said, I just want to encourage everybody, get a job that you love, but work that job.
Hey, that's so true, Kenneth. And I'm going to go to this last question, but that's so real because I love what I do. As a matter of fact, when I'm speaking now, this is actually work, but it doesn't feel like work. But truth be told, when I be on those planes and I'm traveling across the country, I'm going to be honest, I love to speak. Like, man, like I can be tired. Once I get up on, I'm like wide awake, like, let's go. But to be honest, there'll be some times I'll be like, man, I don't feel like getting on this plane. I don't feel like going to this city. I want to go home and chill. I want to be at the beach, drink. I don't drink, but if I wasn't you, I'd say a pina colada, say a virgin pina colada, whatever the case. I mean, I want to chill out. But truth be told, I may have said that wrong. I hope I didn't. But truth be, y'all know I don't drink just by saying that. But truth be told, man, I love what I do, but you got to work, especially when you want to be the best, especially when you want to get, and again, I'm not competing with no one else. I'm competing with myself to be the best me that I could ever be. We got one more question real quick, and then we're going to get to our final thoughts. The last question is this. I think it's always comes up. How do you motivate yourself when it gets difficult? How do you motivate yourself when it gets difficult? Orlando.
I heard someone say, motivation is obsolete because it's ebbs and flows, right? If you're waiting to get motivated, you may not get started. So just do the work. To what Kenneth said, it's work out here in the streets. Get to work. The motivation, the inspiration, all that'll come later. Just do what you got to do. Don't do it because you feel excited about it. Because 3 weeks from now, you may love, right? You may love a certain type of chicken. Then next week you like steak. And where's your motivation? You ebbing and flowing, right? You're getting tossed to and fro in this world. Just do the work. Motivation will come.
Awesome. I know Maricel had something to say. Awesome.
Yeah, I would say that you need to remember your why. You know, yes, motivation will come, but intrinsically you have a why. We each have a why. We each have a purpose. When you know your why, your how is bearable. When you know your why, your how is bearable, right? That was Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, who said that, right? When you see the greater purpose to your pain, to your labor, you can hold fast to that. When I see that little brown kid, that little first gen kid, when I remember who I was as an 18-year-old about to fail from college, ashamed and embarrassed as a Latina, I remember that, and that gets me up and makes me turn that Zoom on or get on that plane, right? So there's an urgency to purpose. There's an urgency and an energy to that. And I think keeping your why before you, literally having Post-it notes on your computer, visual boards, whatever it is it takes for you to remember your why, that's what's going to keep you going when things get hard.
As we get ready to close, what is the final word of advice that you would leave with yourself when you were between the ages of 18 to 25 years of age and you were just getting started in your purpose and your life trajectory as it relates to your career? What is the word of wisdom you would give yourself when you were just, because there may be people from all ages, so let me not say just 18, 25. When you were beginning your new journey, you were beginning a professional career, what would that word of wisdom that you would give yourself if you went back to the beginning stages? And I guess we'll start with Richard since we started with you last. Richard, it's on you.
Your time is coming, because I tell you, one of the first things I've learned, like, and I look back, because I'm 32, but from that age, from the time that you're talking about, I was so gung-ho on wanting to be a young director, young senior manager, that I did not care about anything else. I would make it to the final interviews and never get selected. And I used to never understand why until I hit like my late 20s and now my 30s, and I'm coaching people who are in executive level positions and everything else. And I say, you know what, if I had to go back, I would have said, yes, it would have been okay for you to take that one job. Because if that meant that it would have gave me the proper opportunity to learn and develop my skill set and fail on purpose to be better for the next best thing, I would have been okay. So I advise everybody, it's okay. It's okay to look at failure as a growth mindset and not as a negative statement or a negative feeling. Fix that and move on and kill it. That's all you got to do.
Your time is coming. Come on, somebody. Give it up for Richard. Can we give Richard a big round of applause in virtual land? Let him know that you appreciate him. Also, make sure you connect with him on LinkedIn. Connect with him on LinkedIn. Kenneth, what are your final words?
Yeah, my final words are going to be really, even at 18, like, just always remember to give back and to support and help others.
All right, next one up, Scott, we're going to you. What are your final words?
I thought about this, and one thing that I try to live by in terms of my motto is I can live with failure, but I cannot live with regret. So when I look back at my life, I have no problem if I try things and they don't work out. I have a problem if I don't try them, because that's my fault. And so I've always thought that, I don't consider myself that creative, but I would say overall, sometimes ideas can be overrated. It's action that produces results. So I always tell myself to do stuff and stop thinking about it and just start, going into it. I'll figure it out along the way. But I just encourage all of you to, if you have ideas you want to try them. Because if you wait too long, you're never going to do it and you're going to regret it. And that's something you don't want to live with.
Man, I love it, Scott. I love it. Do not regret it. If you got a dream, if you got a vision, go after it today. Come on, someone. Woo! Come on, man. I'm pumped up. I've been pumped all day, but I'm just like turned up. But okay, our next person we're going to go to, we're going to go to Orlando. Let's go to Orlando. Marissa, we're going to go to Orlando. Orlando, what's up, my man? Let's go.
All right, so I'm making short and sweet. I would tell you to really find your gift, because the Bible tells us your gift will make room for you. Not your passion, not your motivation, not your work ethic, your gift. So, work ethic will couple with that, but you definitely want to find your gift, because that is the thing that will make room for you in your life and your career.
Awesome. I love it. Your gift will make room for you. Come on, somebody. And last is Maricel. Maricel, what are your final words of wisdom? We began with you. We end with you. Take it away.
My final words of wisdom is that, first of all, this is amazing, and bless you, Joshua, for the vision for this and for bringing these people together. I just want to tell each and every one of you, young or old, on this line, that you are enough. If no other person in your life has ever told you this, you are enough. You matter. You were built from the good stuff. You've got what it takes to do whatever it is you need to do. It's your birthright. It's in your DNA. It has nothing to do with what any deficit model anybody's told you, any statistics. None of that stuff matters. You are more than enough. You are unstoppable, and you can do great, great things in this life if you never, ever, and I mean never, ever give up.
We are so grateful, first and foremost, for our panelists. They brought the fire. And again, I do a lot of panel sessions. This panel was lit. It was amazing. So we want to just thank you all so much, to all the panelists. If y'all in virtual land can give them a round of applause, just let them know that you appreciate them. Let them know that you are so thankful for them. Also, if you got to connect with them, make sure you connect with them on LinkedIn. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Again, we'll have a link coming out. Let us know how they have impacted you. But just let them know, and we're just so grateful. Been a powerful start to this experience, man, and we're just getting started. So again, thank you all so much. See y'all soon. Peace.